but it takes the air off of your nose to follow him into a corner like that. So he thinks he decided to go down low and take that position. Oh, here we got trouble. You see that
rush
jump?
hour. It's rush hour on the interstate in Miami. You saw the side-by-side move there. Darren Law gets shuffled back, and I've got to believe that GT traffic coming out of the button hook on the infield had a big part to play in that. You only have to get balked for just a minute. All these cars very equal on horsepower. You get balked for just a second, have to lift off the throttle, you're in trouble.
Gidley got a little wiggle there under braking. Maybe a little bit too much rear brake bias, which will cause the car to turn when you brake like that. But he almost had a big moment.
And now it's Lexus and BMW. We're about to look at two power plants, and we're going to see what they can do flat out around the banking here into turns 3 and 4. NASCAR 3 and 4. The BMW power in the 19, the Lexus power in the 01 of Luis Diaz. It looks pretty even when they get over here to the line, Doris.
Throw a couple GT cars in for the mix and really see what happens here.
See the 61 car that they just came by, the green, white, and red Porsche of Brian Sellers, that car back out. We had thought that they were done for the day, but the car is still running. But back on board the Kodak Easy Share car, your leader looking back out. Calvin Fish is standing by with Jim Bell. Calvin?
Jim, it hasn't been the smoothest of days, but right now things looking good. Terry had the problem in the warm-up, but Christian's out front, but you're rolling the dice a little bit on fuel mileage here. We're seeing several of the other front-running cars come in. You're staying out. What's your strategy there?
Yeah, we're running on the lean map. We're trying to make it on one stop, obviously, and there may be some more yellows. We're not as fast as they are in a straight line, so we're just trying to outrace them because we can't really, we're not really quicker than they are. They're closing up on us now. It'll get interesting here pretty quick.
Okay, well, they're getting ready. It won't be too many laps, either green or more yellow, before they need to make that first stop, guys.
And what Jim Bell was talking about, he was running on the lean map. These are computer-driven engines, and there's a dial in there on the dash that the driver can turn from 1 to 2 to 3 or whatever, and you can lean out the motor. Now, it won't make as much horsepower, but it'll get a lot better fuel mileage, and that's the game they're playing that Jim's talking about.
47 cars started this race around this 2.3-mile circuit. As you see the onboard shot, and look, Frizzell up the inside of Fittipaldi, and you got to believe that traffic had something to do with that yet again. And look at the view that Fittipaldi has. Those tear-offs on the windshield making visibility very difficult.
In NASCAR, he would have been brought in for passing below the yellow line. There is no such rule in road racing. He made that on the apron.
23-year-old Bert Frizzell, a great move on Christian Fittipaldi, and he took real advantage of it. But you were talking about the fuel map and what's that going to do to the horsepower of the 54 car, and we saw the power of that BMW engine right there in Bert Frizzell's hands. He took it to him and used a little bit of blocking backs, I think, in the form of GT cars to get it done also.
Jim Bell, the owner that was talking about all that stuff, he's a sly old fox. Here's the pass right here. Watch what happens. Pass for the lead we're talking about. Coming down in the brake zone, goes down. Look at the line to the left right there. Oh, where'd you come from?
Excuse me, pardon me, coming through. You saw those two GT cars right there at the worst possible place.
Oh, look
Christian
at that.
could have caught him.
Christian just forces one up out into the dirt, which is...
Fool me once, shame on me, but you're not going to fool me twice. These guys aren't going to get in my way. He's going to try to get the battle and take it back to Bert Frizzell, but look at the lead that Frizzell has been able to pull out. We talked about traffic being a problem here, and look at Diaz making the move, coming up strong behind the Pontiac of Fittipaldi.
No, I don't know if that was just all of a sudden got into the draft, but it was a monster move right there. All of a sudden, the 01 Lexus just picked up monster speed. I have to assume he just really got a big toe right there. Well, that's 170 miles an hour, by the way.
The other thing that we talked about, Dorsey, was these guys have to drive these cars through 3 and 4. Look at the traffic as Diaz goes up the inside. We talked about having to really drive these cars through 3 and 4. It's not easy flat. And you wonder if on older tires, the handling going away a little bit. Did Fittipaldi maybe have to breathe the throttle a little bit, and that's what gave Diaz the jump?
Again, controlled aggression. That comes to this point right here. Traffic, you can make these low percentage moves and get away with it sometimes. Other times, however, you can end your race real quickly. It's the driver's choice when you get into this. These guys in GT are racing as well. They get every right to the same piece of road as you do.
Exactly. These guys have their own race going on, like you said, and they want to be courteous and let the DPs go. But at the same point in time, they don't want to give anything up on the competitors that they have to do battle with themselves. So look at Diaz. Diaz led this race last year, made a slight mistake in that very treacherous turn 1-2 area that we've seen problems in all day long and put him off and out of the race. But he certainly knows how to pedal this car around the racetrack. As you look at Memo Gidley, well, there's Bert Frizzell. You look to the back to second place of Diaz at the line there, and the GT car doing a nice job pulling over out of the way. Diaz doing a great job, and a very interesting spectator in the pits watching Luis work is with Calvin Fish.
Hey, Scott, you're getting kitted up here, ready to go. New teammate this year, the young Mexican Luis Diaz. You have to be pleased with his progress today.
Well, everything's been going along pretty good. We opted to go for early stop. That puts us in a position just to make one more. I know some of these guys are kind of gambling right now if they're going to do it in just one. But Luis is doing a good job. The Comp USA car's running good. And hopefully just keep on racking up the miles here and go for a win.
You were certainly fast here last year in both rounds we had, but you never got a good result. Time to get that one back.
Yeah, Homestead kind of owes us a little bit. We've worked pretty hard here and came up pretty short both races, so we're going to go see what we can do. And hi to my family at home.
All right, Scotty, good luck.
Pruitt gets behind the wheel of that 01 car. Certainly don't expect it to drop back. He knows how to work traffic, and traffic has been an issue here all day long. Defending series champion Scott Pruitt certainly take it to the champion. To the traffic as you look at Diaz through turns 3 and 4 on the banking. Don't expect to leave Homestead Miami Speedway with a car that's intact. Look at these guys doing battle in traffic. We'll be back after this. Rolex Sports Car Series action from Homestead Miami Speedway. We've seen different leaders in Daytona prototypes, different leaders in GT, and you're looking at the new leader in the GT class right now, the number 36 Porsche of Michael Levitas and Randy Popes. These guys had a good run at Daytona going until they were caught in an incident in the middle of the night, put their hopes of winning that Rolex away, but they want to win the championship. And these guys ran strong all year long last year in the SGS class. Right now, Randy Popes behind the wheel. And Chris Neville, you have more.
Brian, that's right. This is the same pair, Randy and Mike, last year in SGS. They were so strong. Same pair this year. They're going to stick through the season. They were hoping for that Rolex just a couple weeks ago, but that contact late going took them out of the winner's circle there. These guys are having a great run here today. They were caught a little bit off guard by these Formula Atlantic boys, but right now they're back in the hot seat, and they think they've got a car that can win it.
There's certainly no reason to believe that they would not be strong this year. They led the SGS championship for most of the season last year, trading it back and forth with teammates at the time, Andy Lally and Mark Bunting. But Andy and Lally and Mark Bunting took the championship away, but Levitas and Popes, great battles all year long. As you look back at the battles right now on the racetrack, problems spoke out of the 77 Daytona prototype, and that's I got it.
That was
Man, that was close. That's the 64 car, the Racers Group car with the two 16-year-old drivers in it right now. That's still Colin Braun in that car, and that almost looked like there was fluid or some type of debris down on the racetrack because that slide was lurid, Dorsey.
Yeah, that was a good tank slapper he did right there. Good to save it once it goes past the second wiggle like that. In any event,
They're going to hope the race was being taped at home because they're going to want to make sure that they have a copy of that. These guys doing a great job for any driver to run as well as they are, but for 16-year-olds, tremendous job. And back up front, Bert Frizzell in the number 88, or in the number 8 RX.com BMW Doran.
and he's got a good lead, and if he's looking in the rearview mirror, he's real happy to see that the guys fighting for second are really cutting and thrusting it up, and it's probably slowing them down, allowing him to get away. But second place battle has been just immense for the last few laps.
On board with EFR, looking at Christian Fittipaldi in front of him. And now on board with 10. The 10 car up to second place. He's gotten past the 01. Max Angeletti on board. He was handed the car by Wayne Taylor. This pair, great job all last year, and Calvin Fish is standing by with Wayne Taylor right now.
Wayne, you've already made one stop, of course. You've got Max behind the wheel. He seems to be sliced his way through the field right now. How's the car performing?
The car's handling really well. I mean, it's basically going to plan. We were a little bit slow in a straight line, but you know, this is going to be a very big strategy race with the tires and with all the cautions at the beginning. So I think at the moment everything's running plan.
You'll need another stop, I assume. Are you going to jump back in, or will Max double from here on out?
No, Max will probably finish. And it depends on if there's any cautions to come.
All right, mate, good luck.
Thanks.
Back on board with Angeletti. You heard him say that Max will probably finish. We talked earlier about the fact that he had the fastest race lap last year, 0.8 of a second faster than anybody, and young Bert Frizzell is looking in his mirror right now going, oh no.
Here comes Max Yax. I mean, he's closed that deficit a ton. That's the race for the lead you're talking about right here. And right behind him is young Luis Diaz in the 0-1. Watch here when we go in the brake zone, you're going to see he's not that far back either.
Last time by the line, it was 1.1 seconds. It is barely 2 car lengths now as Angeletti is bringing the battle to young Bert Frizzell. And about this time, Bert's going, don't we need to make a pit stop? I'll be glad to put Brian in.
Well, they all need to make one pretty soon, I would think. But nonetheless, the man on the move, Max, is really going really quick. 1:17 to 1:16.4 that lap. 6 tenths, 7 tenths quicker than any other guy on the field.
And this is where he excels, in the brake zone. Not going to happen this time into turn 1, but up the inside of 2.
Oh, yes, it is.
What? I'm speechless. What a tremendous job. We did not think a lot of passing could happen in that place. Turn 1 perhaps, but not into turn 2 that way. And he has made it look easy, and I would imagine Bert Frizzell is going, what was that?
Well, he turned up the wick that lap. He went a 1:16.3 to everybody else's 17.3. A full second a lap faster than the guys he's racing around. He's going to check out.
Well, and for Bert Frizzell, that may actually be a good thing. Young Luis Diaz is behind him, still trying to put some pressure on, but for Bert Frizzell, that takes the pressure off. Angeletti is gone. Now Bert can put his head down and just continue to do his job and drive that car. On board from Angeletti as you look at a replay of the pass. That's how he took the lead, and we'll be back to see more of his driving right after this. Leader Max Angeletti brings his number 10 SunTrust Pontiac Riley into the pits and was in the lead when it came in. Calvin Fisher there. Tell us what's going on.
Well, it just took him 22 laps from go from P11 all the way to the lead. He comes into the pits in the lead. Now it'll be their final pit stop, hopefully, of the afternoon. Fresh, hard compound, huge tires going on here. He's getting us some drink. He's going to do a double here under very difficult and hot conditions here in Florida this afternoon. So it'll be a full fuel load. They'll top him up. He'll have plenty of gas. He'll be able to burn it up and really trying the wick up here and see if they can score their second victory, 2 in a row here for the 10 SunTrust team, Brian.
Well, this stop is under caution. We just had another full course caution here. They can get this car out and make sure that they have that pit perfection that we talked about. They're not going to lose a lot of track position, Dorsey, but they still don't want to give up too much. A lot of GT cars will be stacked up in front of them. They want to get this car back out, but most importantly, they want to make sure that the job in the pits is done and done correctly.
Telltale sign of what the driver's going through. You saw Max right there get his drink bottle. Instead of putting it in his mouth, he sprayed it into his eyes and to his face to cool himself down. That's something the driver does when it's really, really hot in there. Then he went ahead and drank the rest of it.
Well, and to the people watching at home, you may not really think too much about heat because it's a nice day in southern Florida. It's only in the mid-70s, so it is far from being hot like you would expect in the summertime, and especially like it was at the second round at Homestead last year. But inside those enclosed cars, it's like an oven.
You're looking at a 140-degree oven, which will cook a roast if you sit in there long enough. But I sat in there long enough. That's why I don't.
Certainly hot inside the cars, and the competition has been hot here today. We've seen a lot of battles throughout, both in Daytona prototypes and in GT around this 2.3-mile circuit. A look at the 36 car right now of Randy Pope's behind the wheel right now in 15th place overall, but in leading GT. This team doing a great job stepping up to the GT ranks, and you see one of the team cars, actually both of the team cars, up on the banking right now as the 36 car rolls into the pits. Chris Neville will be there, and he'll have more. Long run down pit lane. Where we take for granted how slowly they must go. He now rolls this to his spot, and now Chris Neville is there. Chris?
Yeah, that's right, Brian. Randy Pope's very happy with this 36 car. These boys looking for their first GT win after the disappointment at Daytona. Car is working very well for them. They haven't been quite ready for the change in heat and also the sun today because it's been a very cold weekend, a lot of overcast skies, some rain. but they said the car is working fantastic. So right now, Randy just trying to keep out on the racetrack, keep out of trouble. Lots of trouble out there today. All these drivers are saying that first half of that race was absolutely nuts. It kind of reminded everybody of Phoenix last year. So a lot more cars here at Homestead this weekend, starting to look like these smaller Robles are just Saturday night NASCAR event, maybe Bristol.
Well, I'd like to have the bodywork concession for these guys after the race. A lot of bodywork damage, a lot of tire marks as Randy Popes pulls out underway. Fabrizio Golan, not the only sick person out there today. Chris Neville, thanks for soldiering on. I know he does not feel well. He has had the flu over this last week as Randy Popes rolls down pit lane. A lot of the competitors out there hoping that their competitors in front of them will get sick and drop out. A lot of people out there want to win this race. Max Angeletti pounding around Homestead Miami Speedway in the lead right now, but it is not a comfortable lead at all, Dorsey.
Not at all. I'll tell you why that is too. Butch Leitzinger is running over a second a lap quicker for the last couple laps. He's closed the deficit from 6 seconds to 2.9. The 4 car is coming. You better look out.
Well, and we know about Andy Wallace. We know that he and teammate Milka Duno won this race twice last year, and the strength of the Crawford chassis